This week on Maker Update, Maui Makers, slow motion frames, the launch of MakerShare, zip tie lamps, rocker switch walls, magnetic wristbands, and a cheap way to brand wood. It's Wednesday, June 21st. I'm Donald Bell, and welcome to another Maker Update. I am back from vacation. I was over in Maui with my family, mostly relaxing. But on Father's Day, they let me take them to the Maui Makers Makerspace. It's a nice big facility out in a little industrial pocket. We got a tour from Laura, who showed us some of the cool 3D printing projects they were getting ready for the Honolulu Maker Faire, including a fidget spinner and this cool puzzle chair. They also had a polisher machine for smoothing out 3D prints with alcohol vapor. If you're in Maui, you should check them out. All right, let's get back into the swing of things and take a look at some cool new DIY projects. This week, let's talk about slow motion frames. In 2016, Jeff Lieberman launched a Kickstarter product called Slow Dance that makes real-life objects appear to move in slow motion. They're beautifully done and not terribly expensive at $250. That said, it's hard to look at something like this and not be curious about how it's done and how to make your own. The basic idea is that by vibrating a somewhat flexible object at one frequency and then hitting it with a strobe light flashing at another frequency, you get this unreal slow motion effect. The strobe seems intense on video, but in real life it's barely visible at about 80 flashes per second. There are two takes I've seen on Slow Dance on Instructables. The first is called TimeFrame by Cubic Print. It uses an Arduino Nano, a hand-wound electromagnet, and warm white LEDs that are slightly inset within the frame. They also sell a kit that gets you everything for around $60 US, including the Arduino. But if I'm being picky, it only vibrates one object at a time, the frame looks kind of cheap, and the LEDs aren't really recessed that far back or diffused. All fixable problems, but check out this other design by jollifactory. This one uses a somewhat more attractive IKEA frame and a custom inner box of diffused acrylic that conceals the lights and the electromagnet. There's a $43 kit for this, but it doesn't include the frame or the Nano. I'm tempted to make one of these, but I'm also really curious to see where this is gonna go next. You know, like right now I can tell we're in the early knockoff stage of things, but we're gonna get to the innovation stage where I'm gonna see them scaled up, scaled down, and I'm almost positive we're gonna see a version with an infinity mirror behind it, right? Because all the elements are there already, so get on it. And now for news. This week, Maker Media, the team behind Maker Faire and Make Magazine, officially launched the beta of MakerShare.com. This is a site for makers to create profiles for themselves and share their projects and stories with each other. Now, they tried something like this before with their Makerspace.com site, though I like this better, and the focus is more on telling the story of you and your projects and less about the step-by-step. It's worth a look. I have a few more projects to mention. Instructables employee mikeasaurus has a great write-up on making your own colorful zip tie lamp. This inexpensive project essentially involves hacking an existing lamp by replacing the shade material with steel mesh and using zip ties to both attach the mesh to the shade frame and decorate the mesh with colorful layers. Mike admits that attaching the zip ties is time-consuming, even for a small lamp, but the result looks surprisingly cool. Also, my friend Andrew Gavette sent me this project by Sylvan Reiser. It's a wall of thousands of illuminated rocker switches that you can turn on and off. The switches are all mounted in a CNC carved sheet of plywood. To get a good price on the switches, Sylvan had to order them on Alibaba for around $120 and was even able to get the manufacturer to make them without the usual on-off logos. The result is really cool, though deceptively tricky to get everything to fit straight and secure, and probably tricky to wire up. Have you ever held nails or screws in your mouth while you're working on a project just to keep them nearby? Well, there's a better way. In this week's video review, I'm gonna show you the MagnoGrip wrist strap. It is a $14 wrist strap. You can get it on Amazon Prime, and I found it through the Cool Tools blog, and if you wind up picking one up using the link in the description here, you help to support my videos and the Cool Tools blog. This is a low-tech but useful tool. It just velcros around your wrist and includes embedded magnets to hold whatever odds and ends you need to have handy. The magnets aren't super strong, but just strong enough to hold a handful of nails or screws. I imagine if it were much stronger, it might actually be a liability. It's a durable design made from thick 1680 ballistic polyester, so having screws and nails rub against it over and over shouldn't be a problem. The inside that touches your wrist has this nice breathable padding. The original Cool Tools review of this comes from Sue Bettenhausen, who recommended it for nails and pins, putting together her son's bike, hanging pictures, or shortening pants. I also see several Amazon reviews from people using these while doing car repairs to prevent bolts from falling into the engine. The wristband comes in a few colors, but red seems like it provides the best contrast so screws and nails don't just blend in. By picking one up and using the link below, you help to support these videos and the Cool Tools blog and podcast. And you can see thousands of reader-recommended tools just like this at cool-tools.org. I have a few other tips I found recently. This one's now over a week old, but I have to mention Laura Kampf's video on using inexpensive ammonium chloride to stamp or stencil a design into wood and then apply heat with a heat gun to burn it in. Also, I got to catch up on a few weeks worth of Gareth Brandwin's tip roundups on make. There's a great one from Farmcraft 101 on keeping your paintbrush from drying out when you need to take a break, just by grabbing the brush and turning your glove inside out over it. Also, a tip from Make Reader Bruce J on using a bit of soft eggshell style foam for organizing really tiny screws and nuts during a project. I saw that Adafruit has a new $23 Pi Bonnet that looks great on a Pi Zero. It has a 1.3-inch OLED screen and a little joystick and 2 buttons. It might be fun for a little interactive processing sketch or maybe to control a larger project as a control interface. Maker fairs! This week we have Honolulu and Kansas City. There's a power racing series in Kansas City and I'm excited to see some new car designs. That's it for this week's show. Thank you to everyone who helped me out with 3D printer advice from last week's show. I'm still taking it all in, but I'll let you know what I decide, all right? And as always, be sure to subscribe and like and comment and share on this video. That's always the best feeling. And if you want that magnetic wrist strap, that $14 wrist strap, be sure to use the link in the description here, and that helps to support this show, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.